Shalom. Call halal Yahweh by Shem Shai by Shem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, to be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners. And to the Akwath that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago. And I'd also like to take a moment to thank all those who've donated alms. It's much appreciated and much needed for myself and for the brotherhood, the water. But this lesson, I'm watching this video, and it's called 10 Items to Buy Before the Great Depression. And then this guy gives you the breakdown and the rundown before everything. We're already in the greatest depression. It's just going to show itself to be much worse than that. And in this video, he talks about civil unrest, civil wars, food shortages, riots, racial conflicts, all that stuff. And basically, this guy is trying to give you the breakdown on how to survive this whole thing. But, as you see, he has a bald face and a bald head. He's put a razor both to his head and to his face. So this man have not the spirit of the Lord. He's got an American flag, which represents a rape, robbery, and murder, not freedom and all that other stuff. That's a lie. America was stolen from other people, and then they enslaved, murdered, raped, and robbed people in order to keep it. And then they expanded their armies around the four corners of the earth to force people to use their currency. And now look, their markets are crashing. But what sparked this whole thing was a video. It's something that I was watching Elder Manat Zakbar, and he brought out Acts 20 and 7. So that popped into my head, and through the spirit, I'm going to go into a lesson talking about, just to prove a thing about how you jakes out there, especially, to hell with you Christians, but you jakes that are in the know, you jakes that know that you're Israelites, but still disregard what the scriptures say to try and make them fit your own feelings, your own emotions, what you think and what you feel, and not what it is. All right, both men and women that know they're Israelites. So this is mainly to you, right? Because the so-called Christians, they're a lost cause. It's so they're the walking dead. All right, there's no help for them. But this is Acts 20 and 7, and it reads 20 and 27 of Salakia, and it reads, "For I have not shunned to declare unto you all the counsel of God." And see, that's something that they don't do. They don't want to declare all the counsel of the Lord. All right, they like to read a scripture or two that fits their narrative, or whatever it is they're trying to sell, whatever it is they're trying to do, and disregard the precepts that prove it. All right, one or two scriptures maybe. All right, but when it clearly tells you precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little. So that's 4 to 6 scriptures that explain the same thing. And one of those things being, because the brother brought up the question about how a young brother was watching the videos, and he's watching many videos in different camps, and how is it okay to have a heathen, and is it not? All right. First and foremost, we all should prefer Israelite women over the heathen women. I know I do. All right. But the truth of the matter is, our women, for the most part, are completely and totally out of order. All right. And this world that we live in, just to get along, it will be a lot easier for you to, and it's sad that I have to say this, if you actually had a heathen, because now, because I'm always telling brothers, thou should not make a whore of the daughters of Zion. So you just can't be jumping from Israelite woman to Israelite woman, and then not marry her. Not be with her and take care of her. You just, that's being wicked, brothers. I don't do it. I refrain from touching the Edom. I'm trying to stay from Edom these days too. But I refrain from being with an Israelite woman if she's not gonna be my wife. That's just me, because the scripture is very clear on that. Thou shalt not make a whore out of the daughters of Zion. So, if I'm not going to be with her, make her one of my wives, or make her a wife, then I'm not going to touch her in that matter, man. I just won't do it. All right. But that's just me. All right. But with a heathen, they don't really matter. You know, if you got an arrangement where, you know, what's the word that they like to use in the world? Fuck buddies. You know, you just got a woman that you could, you know, relieve yourself in that matter, and just be about it. You don't have to you don't have to worry about supporting her and taking care of her, or any of that thing, unless you choose to. All right, which wouldn't be totally wicked. I'm going to prove that with the scriptures. All right, let me go grab another scripture, because I can only imagine the comments. The comment board is going to be lit on this one, with people rattling off their feelings and not scripture, saying things that can't be backed up by scripture. Wow, even that survival tool, that tool is pretty hot right now. Actually, that would be a good tool to have, but nevertheless, no amount of tools in the world is going to save you if the Lord is not with you. But let's go to 1 John 5 and 10. All right. And this, you know, this is mainly, like I said, mainly for you Israelites that know you're Israelites, but yet disregard what the scriptures say to go with your, you know, to go with what you think and feel, you know, well, what you believe. No, it's not about what you believe, is what the scriptures say, right? But this is 1 John 5 and 10, and it reads, "He that believeth on the Son of power have the witness in himself, and he that believeth not God have made him a liar, because he believeth not the record God gave of his Son." All right. So in many ways, so I mean, you know, they're not believing the record that was left behind about the Lord. That would be more for the heathens and for you 2/3. But they're also not believing in the words that the Lord said. They want to change things, like this whole thing about a mamzer. And here's one of the main scriptures that they use. Let's go to Deuteronomy, to try and apply this to all the other nations. And the Lord didn't name all the other nations. I even had a woman break this down and say, well, it said only those nations, right? But this is Deuteronomy 20. I'm going to start at verse 15. And it reads, "Thus shalt thou do unto all these cities which are far off from thee, which are not the cities of these nations, but of the cities of these people," he's being very specific, "which Yahweh thy power doth give thee for an inheritance, thou shalt save alive nothing that breatheth." So he made that specifically for these nations that he's about to name. "But thou shalt utterly destroy them, namely," and he names them, "the Hittites," and these were all so-called Africans. Okay, these were Hamites. So it says the Hittites and the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, the Jebusites, as Yahweh thy power hath commanded thee. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 nations that were to be utterly destroyed, and you save nothing that breatheth, their animals, nothing, because they were living completely and totally defiled. Their meat was defiled, the animals defiled. You know, the Lord didn't want anything. All right. "That they teach you not to do after all their abominations, which they have done unto their gods, so should ye sin against Yahweh your power." So basically, he said, when you go into this land to take this land, you're going to save none of these people alive, none of their animals, nothing. All right. He said, nothing that breatheth. All right. To destroy it all. All right. It didn't say anything about the other heathens. Nothing whatsoever. Okay. Now, to back that up, we're going to go to the book of Judges. And this is where this was how you go back to Acts 10 and 20. Matter of fact, let's read Acts 10 and 20 again first, before we read the book of Judges, to prove that point. But this is Acts 10 and 27. And once again, I'm sorry, I'm slacking. I called that wrong. Acts 20 and 27. And it reads, "I have not shunned to declare unto you all the counsel of God." Just have to read that again. Jake needs to hear things multiple times. All right. As this guy is telling you how to prepare yourself for the upcoming fall, because a lot of you are not taking heed to that. You know, But clearly, a lot of people are. These Edomites and these other heathens, they're taking this thing serious. All right. But, you know, they also setting themselves up to be raided, you know, like this Edomite got a Jake baby daddy. But nevertheless, he must have been listening. He didn't want that drama when he got him a heathen. But this is the book of Judges, which because the scoffer's gonna scoff, boy. They're gonna be mad on this one. But this is Judges, the 11th chapter. And I'm gonna start at verse 1. And it reads, Now Jephthah the Gileadite was a mighty man of valor. He was a son of a harlot, and Gilead begot Jephthah. All right. So Jephthah's mother was a harlot, a heathen, because thou shalt not make a harlot of the daughters of Zion. All right. All right. Now here we go. Now Gilead's wife bare him sons, and his sons grew up, and they thrust out Jephthah, and said unto him, Thou shalt not inherit in our father's house, for thou art the son of a strange woman. All right. So did that make him not an Israelite? No, it did not. His brothers were being wicked and going upon their own thoughts, their own hearts. But let's see how the Lord deals with this, because the Jephthah was the one that the Lord was dealing with. Because according to the Bible, it's, you know what? Let's get it, because there's always somebody new. This is Numbers 1:18. The basic scripture. I could get others but this one is basic. All right. And it reads, And they assembled all the congregations together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward by their polls. So your nationality, your heritage is determined by your father, not your mother. What do you think the term comes from? My brother from another mother. All right. Because a brother from another man is a different lineage, a different line. You don't have the same bloodline. His line is different, right? Which is a poor and unfortunate case with Jake, because many of our women have children by multiple men. All right. That's why the children be so divided. The houses be so divided, because they have different spirits in them, even if they're the same people. All right. They're your brother in that way, but you know, it's not the same as having a brother where you have the same father, because that is your true brother, your true sister. Hence the term, that old saying, that's where it comes from. My brother from another mother. All right. Because you were still 100% brothers. Why? Because you came out of the same waters. You were the same bloodline. Because remember, sperm is the lifeline, is the heritage. And it's shot into a womb, and the womb cultivates that sperm. It cultivates that seed line. All right. A womb doesn't have a seed line. All right. It cultivates whatever seed is put into it. All right. Simple as that. So let's go back to Judges, the 11th chapter. I think we were at verse 2. At verse 3. All right. Then Jephthah fled from his brethren and dwelt in the land of Tob. And there they were. He called them his brethren. All right. When you look that word up in the Bible, you're going to find out that it's kinsmen, those of the same bloodline, related. So he wasn't called a mamzer like a lot of you dumbasses are going to say. First person to say that, you're the biggest dummy on the comment board. All right. It said of his brethren. Then Jephthah fled from his brethren and dwelt in the land of Tob, and there were gathered vain men to Jephthah and went out with him. And it came to pass in the process of time, the children of Ammon made war against Israel. That will be those Japanese today. All right. And it was so that the children of Ammon made war against Israel. The elders of Gilead went to fetch Jephthah out of the land of Tob, or of Tob, however it's potato. And they said unto Jephthah, Come and be our captain, that we may fight with the children of Ammon. Why? When you go back to verse 1, it says, Now Jephthah was a mighty man of valor. He was a warrior, mightier than his brothers, who, being the pussies that they were, pushed him out of the house, pushed him away, didn't want him to get an inheritance because his mother was a heathen. But it didn't matter. He was still their brother from another mother. All right, all of them had the same mother, and he was born different. He had a different mother. But he still was 100% their brother. Why? They came out of the same waters. All right. Back in verse 5. And it was so that when the children of Ammon made war against Israel, Salaki, verse 5. The elders of Gilead went to fetch Jephthah out of the land of Tob, and they said unto Jephthah, come and be our captain, that we may fight with the children of Ammon. And Jephthah said unto the elders of Gilead, did not ye hate me and expel me out of my father's house? And why are ye coming to me now when ye are in distress? All right. And the elders of Gilead said unto Jephthah, therefore we turn again to thee now. Basically, they're bowing down, that thou mayest go with us and fight against the children of Ammon and be our head over all the inhabitants of Gilead. Now I'm going to read a scripture where the Israelites would never put a heathen over them. So you people, once again, who on that false doctrine that both your mother and father have to be an Israelite, you are a liar, or either that or you're just ignorant and don't have knowledge of the scriptures and should not be speaking. You should just shut your mouth and take notes. All right. And I'm going to go to that in a second. Verse 8, and the elders of Gilead said unto Jephthah, therefore we turn again to thee now, that thou mayest go with us to fight against the children of Ammon, and be head over all the inhabitants of Gilead. And Jephthah said unto the elders of Gilead, if you bring me home to fight against the children of Ammon, and Yahweh deliver them before me, shall I be your head? And the elders of Gilead said unto Jephthah, Yahweh be witness between us if we do not so according to thy words. So as we know, the Israelites would not, well, they'll do it in a heartbeat today, but at that time they would never put a heathen over them. So let's get a scripture to substantiate that. This is Deuteronomy 17 and 15. And it reads, thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom Yahweh thy power shall choose. One from among thy brethren shalt thou set over. Matter of fact, I should start at 14. Deuteronomy 17:14. When thou art come unto the land which Yahweh thy power giveth thee, and shall possess it, and shall dwell therein, and shall say, I will set a king over me, like as all the nations that are round about me, thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, who Yahweh thy power shall choose. One from among thy brethren shalt thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother. Call hello Yahweh by Shem Awashai by Shem Wakakwadash. Wa Abba Shalom.